Good morning. I wanted to do a quick video before this low-flying bloody Apache gunship comes over. Wow, that is low actually today. Holy shit, they're moving some military shit about right now, let me tell you. Alright, so today I wanted to do a quick video, kind of go through the process of how I find new things on BSV, on Bitcoin SV. I'm really into it at the minute. Maybe it's just a phase that I'm going through, but I'm really into it because it's really fast, really cheap, and there's loads of little web apps that I would use on a day-to-day basis. So you find certain people in the ecosystem, as always with blockchains, and you sort of gravitate towards what they're doing. So there's a guy called Isaac, founder and CEO of Crash.co, isaacmorehouse.com. Go and follow him on Twitch. He's number 2956, so one of the early adopters. And he does a great show on Streamerty, so you can follow them as well, 14352. And he puts out regular content, regular shows, and they're really informative, really cool. Not necessarily always up my alley in terms of content, but it's consistent, and it's great to just see voices in these spaces. You know, you see certain people in blockchains, like for instance, Crypto Wendy's, like all over the place. Everybody knows her. She puts out incredibly good crypto advice, you know, straight talking, street level, and deservedly so, has got loads of followers because of it. So I tend to go looking around these places and just exploring and just discovery mode. And he shared, he followed me yesterday and he shared me a bunch of new things to look at. And like BSV just keeps on getting better and better for me, because they're things that I would use as alternatives to things that I already use. So things like Upwork or not necessarily Card, but Gumroad and Fiverr, for instance. These are all centralized platforms that don't have a crypto element to them. And actually, they have quite a lot of flaws to them. They take either 7 or 14 days to get paid, and they take quite a percentage. I think with Fiverr or Upwork, no, with Upwork it's like 20%. So it's a lot of money, especially if you're a small, like, independent creator wanting to work with a client and wants to go fast. You know, like if you're into this for the long term and you're trying to build up clientele that you hope clients will come back, then you don't mind waiting because you've always got more than one client that you're kind of working with. But if you want to go fast, if you want to go alone, if you want to go fast and you want to get that transaction in and done, it might be just a daily thing where you spend 5 or 6 hours on a project for somebody. You want to be paid that day pretty much instantaneously and have it in your wallet to be able to do with what you want, maybe invest it or stake it in something else. At least that's my thinking from a independent creator, content creator in 2021 moving forward. So the first one that I want to show you is one called canonic.xyz. I see a lot of XYZ domains. Like I don't know if there's much value at XYZ domains, to be honest. I know it's a bit like niche-y, but you can self-publish on Bitcoin using BSV. And all right, so the design of it's kind of basic right now, but what it does is very, very cool. Like the fact that I can list a book, and I do have a book that I want to actually put up. So this is kind of come along at the right time, because I was going to look at like OpenSea, and I even thought about doing it with NFT Showroom, but both of those are kind of video, GIFs and audio, whereas there's nothing really for like a digital product like a book like this. So one of the things, as I was scrolling around, I saw a lot of Isaac's stuff on here. So he obviously like sells things on here. So this one, for instance, Forward Tilt. This purchase does not include a physical copy and therefore no NFT token. Purchasing this book gives you the ability to download the digital ebook files. So literally for $3, I can buy this book, and once I've bought it, then it goes into my, like, I think it goes into like this purchase book section, so I can get at them at any time, and then I can also grab the PDF. The cool thing that I like what Isaac's doing is, if you look here, it says 50% of the revenues goes to the Numpty pot. So the Numpty pot is a token, their NPC token, which is kind of like a pot of money that all the profits that they're making from Streamerty and all of his digital products, he's putting into a bigger pot. Now, I'm not sure how that pot gets disseminated between people who hold the token, but I like that model. I like that model, like in terms of a content creator or maybe a marketing advocate for a blockchain who spends 12 months doing that thing and takes half that money and keeps it in this ecosystem for it to go around, and then put it into a token, because then there's volatility. People can like buy and sell on the token. And then I don't know what the cut is for how much of the token you have to hold. But I like that. I want to explore that a bit more. I think there's something in there. So another thing that I found on the Canonic site is that there was one book with 100 of 100 purchases, so a limited supply NFT. So I was like, okay, so you're not just selling digital products, there's more to it here. So the first NFT book published on Bitcoin comes as a Canonic exclusive with a limited number of 100 collectible copies. The purchase also gives you the option to redeem the NFT for a physical book signed by the author when they are printed and ready. An important work in its own right. Its potency also swells from the inception of Canonic as the future of self-publishing as a beacon showing the earning power of Bitcoin to other independent creators. So this is completely sold out, but you can go to the NFT market. So I'm not sure if this is just a bolted on thing or if they're going to make it bigger, or they just like thought, okay, we need to amp this up a little bit and be a bit more like socially relevant right now because NFT's blowing up. So this link at the top here, NFT market, brings you to here, buy exclusive book NFTs that have been listed for sale. So all of those 100 NFTs are here and they've all got different prices on them. And if you look at the sold tokens, actually people have been spending money on to get a physical book, but one of 100 signed by the author, and they're going at like kind of crazy prices, right? So we've got 500 here, 400 there, 300 there, 1,000 there. So I'm thinking, you know, if you're an independent book writer, you'd want to get on something like this pretty ASAP, to be honest, because you can exclusively launch a book and make 100 physical copies, know that you've got 100 physical copies to have produced, so you're not like spending loads of money on the hope that people are going to buy your book. You've actually got 100 people to send it to, and then the people who hold the NFT, who've paid the money for the NFT, and bearing in mind this is probably going to get a lot more exposure because it's kind of the first one on this platform to do it, and I don't think I've seen anybody else do something like this on other blockchains yet. So this is kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting where they're going with it. If you want to publish on it, you have to get in touch with those guys first to request access. But I've been thinking about doing a OBS, Open Broadcaster book, for a while, and I was going to put it on Gumroad, and I still will probably sell it on a centralized platform as well, but I might launch it on this site as well and maybe put it as an NFT and do like, I don't know, 25 or 50 copies and see what happens. So definitely go and check that out because that's kind of interesting what they're doing with NFTs. Maybe some videos on video platforms could go the same way. Like the highest 10 videos in a year can then be sold off at the end of the year to build up a marketing pot for a platform, right? So you pick the best 10 videos of the year on the platform, you do some kind of leaderboard thing, or you do some like web page where people vote on the best one or the best ones, and then you take those 10 and you make NFTs of those 10, and then you use the money that's been accrued from that to do marketing for the blockchain for the next 12 months. That could be a cool little thing. Another thing that I really like is Bitpost.app, the publishing platform for Bitcoin. Create, curate, and earn from your ideas and interests. So this was super easy to set up. I created a little profile yesterday. I did a little post, 2021, I still don't have a smartphone, which is absolutely true, by the way. And really like it. The interface is really nice. I had to change the quote because it didn't like HTML, so I had to do that in Markdown. This is all Markdown, so if you know Markdown, you're pretty good. There is a really cool part for a paywall, but I think it's broken because it shouldn't be showing this stuff at the bottom here. People should have to pay for it. So if I go to create new post, one of the things that's really cool is I can either create an article, or I can do a recording, or I can do a code snippet. Now I quickly want to show you what the audios look like. Really nice, really clean, just an embeddable like HTML5 with audio. Brilliant for podcasting. I don't know if I could do this as an article and then add the bit underneath so people pay for the podcast. But if I want to create a new one, I can go to article, I can put in a title, put in all my Markdown in here, all the usual editor stuff at the top, and they've even got a section for paywall content. So I can put in stuff that when people read so far down. So an example of this would be, let's say you're going to do a tour guide for geeks in San Francisco, right, for the weekend. So you might write a whole article at the top, and then at the bottom just give them links to all of the places, all the addresses, all the details they need to get in, or maybe like insider information to be able to get a table or whatever. And you can add a purchase price to that, so they have to pay that with BSV first to unlock that piece of content. I know other sites have done this before, but I really like how easy this is. And I used hand cash to pay for it. Like, to do a post, it costs like 0.02 cents, and if you do an edit, you have to kind of pay that again. So some people might and ah about that, but I think that's a reasonable cost, to be honest. So that's kind of cool. I think I'm going to be writing here more often. I don't have to worry about people upvoting and downvoting, and there is no comment feature as far as I know, just a love post and share post. So that removes all of that like awkwardness and like, you know, venom that you usually get on other blockchain sites where people comment or downvote or do some bullshit on your post and kind of turn you off from actually using the platform. So I really love what they're doing with Bitpost. I love the audio stuff. I love the thing that I can sell files here, so I could maybe do an animation and charge for that. This reminds me very similar to the Ko-fi, K-O-F-I site. You could quite easily take what they've got here now and start bolting on some of the existing features that Ko-fi's got and use that as your marketing on Twitter. I think, you know, short pages. Do you want to donate like $1 towards something, and then show them a bunch of blog posts as well at the same time. So that's really cool. I'm going to be starting to post regularly there, I think every other day or at least a couple of times a week. And the managing is really easy as well. Like, you can just create a new post from here, or I can go in and I can actually go and edit that post and update it, and it gives me all of like the raw markdown. You can see here, this is where the encrypted content should be, but for some reason it's not showing that. I don't know why. I think it might be something to do with my profile in terms of my my pay mail, but I've changed it to do 2 different ones and it's still playing up, so I'm not quite sure what that is, and I don't know who to necessarily talk to. It could do with a bit more information as to who's built this thing, so I can get in touch and offer some suggestions. Another thing I noticed from an experience point of view that I think a lot of other blockchain projects miss out on is gamification, games, challenges. Like, I think that really works well from a retention point of view, especially for a new user who doesn't really use crypto, is like a no coiner. Giving them challenges to do motivates them to do stuff. Even if they're not content creators, they may want to learn how new blockchains work and how they can earn just a little bit of money on these things. So I really like what Tonic Power does with their challenges. If I, for instance, accept, let's accept Starfish, right? You get this little sound effect that plays out and it links down at the bottom, and if I click on it, then if I link my Starfish account, then this is my reward that I get. 435 experience, which helps me level up, which builds trust, and then I get a tiny payment. But you can imagine in 2 or 3 years time, with the right kind of advertisers and promoters here and the price of BSV going up, then that could actually start looking like a really good reward. But I really like that because now I've got all these active and they're kind of challenges. But I kind of learn more about the ecosystem because of these challenges, because I was like, what the hell is Starfish? So I came across this, which is a peer-to-peer authentication system powered by Bitcoin's hierarchical deterministic wallet scheme, which is this section here, which I kind of understand. This is the kind of identity stuff that allows you to transcend different key levels. And the way that they've done it, I think, is incredibly smart, because we're used to this, right? We're used to going from auth straight to the app backend of a platform, or it's siloed, as in we use like Facebook or Google or Twitter, and we use our existing authentication of those platforms to then log into the app backend. But this user-centric, it runs as a local server, and the auth is back and forth on your local server and then is sent to the app backend using this deterministic model, which is really fucking interesting. Like, I'm not completely sure how it works, but I love where they're going with it. And so this is a new thing for me to look into, because what I'll do is I'll research it, look how kind of safe or secure it is to run this server locally. But then I can use that authentication method to log into things like Tonic POW and other BSV applications. So that's another thing that I will say about crypto, is that you shouldn't just like, you should dig deep into these things and see how they actually work, but then also see what else is being built. You know, like if I go to my settings on Tonic POW, I've got integrations with Handcash, Money Button. I tried RelayX yesterday, but it didn't work. But that's where I found out about Starfish. So sometimes looking into the settings or going deep into one of these apps, you end up finding more stuff in the ecosystem. It just expands from there. What else did I want to tell you about? Oh yeah, I went back to BitPing, and I don't know if it was because I did the video the other day and they adjusted something, or maybe something was broke. But now that I've done over 1,000 tests, or maybe they just had you have to do 1,000 tests before you earn anything. But you can see that I've got a balance now of X amount of sats in BSV. And even though that's not a lot of tests, if I wanted to, I could run, I don't know, maybe a digital ocean cloud and just install their little command line tool and have that serving up ping requests as part of a node in their network. At the minute, I think they've got like, let's see, 330 connected nodes in 50 countries. So they use all of those nodes as nodes in their network, so that somebody will go in and request to find out what the uptime is of Microsoft.com, right? And so then they'll query it from all of these nodes. It'll send that request into a big pool, and then that pool will send it out to all of these nodes, and then the nodes will report back what the latency is like, what the ping uptime and everything else is. And then from that, you get a data package. But they're not running any infrastructure. You're running the infrastructure, which I really, really like the idea of that. I know that there's another one that I use called Theta, which runs in the background and does transcoding tasks, and I earn a token for that. So I'm starting to see that we're kind of becoming these like edge nodes, in that we process little bits of data from blockchains, and they hand off that processing, that compute power, to other things, and then you get paid for doing so. So I think that's going to be the residuals, the digital residuals in the future are going to be the servers and nodes and upkeep in these communities that you use and utilize. You're going to, if you want to be more part of that community, then you want to empower that community to maintain the uptime of its nodes and its blockchains. So yeah, if you haven't looked at BitPing, it's an interesting one. They're based out of Singapore. They have a bunch of tools for intelligence for DOS attacks and for measuring bottlenecks and just checking the ping, like I said, the load time and everything. And then they've also got some interesting stuff for dynamic rerouting and reprovisioning, which I think a lot of the BSV sites actually use. I think behind the scenes there's probably about a small group of people building out these businesses and then using these businesses to keep some of this BSV network up. What's nice about it is it's using the community to actually become nodes, which you can do for free, and then you can earn for being a node in that network. So it's like a 360 approach. You're keeping everything like up and running, and you're keeping the value inside of that system. It's constantly going around and making sure that the uptime's good on it. Selenium perform functional front-end testing in unlimited browser types, versions, and user agents through real-life network conditions using BitPing's distributed network of real user nodes. So obviously, every command line interface who downloads the software, when you're doing the query, then there's going to be a bunch of information that's being sent across when you're doing that query. So they might as well utilize the network of nodes to pull back that information. And then, because there's so many different computers out there, different types, Windows, Mac, Linux, they can give you a really good bunch of data back. And also, finally, stream testing. Consume media streams from anywhere in the world, return key metrics such as bitrate, quality, video resolution, and download speeds, notifying you of outages or degradation in quality in real time. Again, really useful services, and behind the scenes, I can pay for any of these using BSV. So if I'm getting paid as an independent content creator, or maybe I'm doing a video stream show for a blockchain, they want to pay me in their native token, then I can pay this company in that native token. So I'm not changing it to fiat. I'm just paying it with a part of the money that I've been paid to make sure the uptime is good. But then also at the same time, I'm keeping money in there, right? So this company can improve their product. So it's like an all boats rise situation. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you today. Hope you're having a really good day where you are. It's Wednesday, so it's Meerkat Wednesday for me, which is looking back at Monday and Tuesday and looking forward to Thursday, Friday and the weekend. Hope you have a good day today. I'll catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye.